My name is Adam Coleman, founder and CEO of HRLocker. I have been an advocate of remote working for almost a decade. COVID caught everybody by surprise and put remote working at centre stage. In February 2020, we had 12 employees, and by February 22, we had expanded to 40. While HRLocker is a remote-first company, I felt the need to bring everybody together at least once a year. And with another lockdown possible, I had to think outside the box. Rather than bringing everyone together, I decided to get into my camper van and visit my employees across Ireland, the UK, Spain and Portugal. I had a few goals. First goal was to meet all my employees and learn from them the good, the bad and the ugly of remote working. Second goal was to prove that you could work from anywhere. And the third goal, as I knew this was going to be really difficult, I decided I would also try out the 4-day working week and see could I make it work for myself. I had organised to meet my own employees, some clients and partners, and a few thought leaders on remote working and pioneers of the 4-day working week. Now we're going into Canberra, which is the home of Tracy Keogh. Tracy, a big shout out to you. Thank you very much. We were going in one direction as a company. I met you and you influenced me to go in another direction, which is to go totally remote and to prove that work is no longer a place. So thank you, Tracy Keogh. Really appreciate it, and thank you, Canberra. Here I am on the way to see Anthony and in the Portishead in Galway. Fantastic facility for companies that are starting up, and I think just for remote working in general. We're also going to be meeting with Rory Guckian, who's one of our partners, but still give you an idea of why work should be no longer a place, because I'm stuck in traffic on the way into Galway. First locating destination, the Portishead. See if I can get in here. In the second meeting at the Portishead, I met with Margaret Cox, the CEO of ICE Group, who are currently implementing the 4-day working week.
You know, Adam, it is absolutely super. You get your 5 days wages, you work on 4 days, you do your job. The company benefits, the employee benefits, the community benefits.
Yeah.
Everybody benefits.
Second destination, Strandhill, Sligo. Woke up in glorious Strandhill after parking up for the night. Now this is what remote working is all about. Molly was the first of our employees I met, and after grabbing a bite of lunch with her, I hit the road. Next, I headed up towards Letterkenny to meet one of our potential partners, as well as 2 more of our employees, Dervla and Dara. Onwards to Belfast to meet with Sean Grant from Core Impact, or so I thought. And we're on day 3 and I'm broken down just outside Derry, which is not a good start.
All part of it, isn't it? All part of the journey.
Exactly. Now, as you can see, the camper is completely decked out as an office, so it's not a major issue. You know, I'm sitting here waiting for the AA guy to come to get me back on the road. I apologise that I couldn't make our face-to-face meeting, but
I'm missing the campervan experience. That's what I wanted, Adam.
I'm on the way. A lovely guy, Dan from the AA, came out and sorted my life out, and we're away again, all the way to Belfast. So happy days, woohoo! The 4-day working week, number 1, is over officially, and I will resume back in and talk with you all on Monday. So I'll probably check in then. Okay, here we are in Belfast in Rory's house. Just got in, just trying to get back into how to figure out what goes in and what goes out of the van. stripping everything out again. See what happens.
What Saturdays are all about.
After my first long weekend as part of my 4-day working week experiment, I headed across the Mary McAleese Boyne Valley Bridge down south to Dublin. Here we are driving into Microsoft, who are hosting us today, which is very good of them. Good on you, Microsoft. Thank you very much for all your support. Great tech and great ISVs. Microsoft's office in Dublin that we're hosted today, which is absolutely amazing. I met with Mark Fitzgerald, the Chief Operations Officer from TypeTech, who are also pioneers of the 4-day working week.
The key theme is productivity. I know obviously there's the work-life balance, but as a business and even the bottom line, we have to do well and we have to maintain our productivity levels. Then I met Lisa, Monica, Shan, Koshak and Tegan, 5 of our Dublin-based employees. That evening, I caught the ferry to Holyhead. With the Emerald Isle behind me, I continued on to the UK. First stop, Manchester. I met with Alistair Swindlehurst, CEO of Easy HR, for the first time, and my good friend Steve Tucker, a serial entrepreneur, to chat about how CEOs and founders might look at the 4-day working week and remote working employees. Guys, we're here in Manchester, heading out towards Paul Wingfield's house, which is just outside Manchester, and here's another advocate for remote working. Look at this. This is absolutely nuts. While the city is wonderful, the commute is a bitch. Paul is an ex-colleague of mine who I have huge respect for, and we talked about his experience of working in a deliberately developmental organisation like HRLocker. As a Saints fan, I managed to fit in a sneaky game against Burnley at Turfmoor. 90 minutes of my life I will never get back. Adam here again, on the way to Birmingham, Walsall, to see Jack. I think remote working looks really, really good now again. This is horrific traffic. Jack joined our commercial academy at HRLocker in September 2021, but due to the pandemic, this was the very first time that I met with Jack face to face. After a nice evening with Jack, I headed down the M6 to meet Rob, one of our senior developers, in Chorleywood, North London. Hi guys, Adam here again, just back in the car, or in the van, in Berta, after a few days of meeting various people. A big thank you to Grace and Chris for my stay at the Walnut Tree, absolutely amazing, and also for meeting Rob in Chorleywood, one of our senior developers. Back on the road now, on the way to Plymouth, and hopefully getting a sneaky surf before I go to Spain. As I arrived in Big Bay, just outside Plymouth, it was almost dark, so I parked up Bertha and called it a night. I woke up to this incredible view and I thought, isn't it great that work is no longer a place? My time in England was over. Time for me to make a Brexit. On the ferry, Bertha's downstairs on her own for the first time, which is interesting. We have England in my back. This is 24-hour, so it'll be interesting. Just got notification that I have a investment pitch tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We're disembarking from this ferry at 12:15. I'll have to load myself up with the best internet that this ship can conjure, and let's hope for the best. And it's a safe place to fail, right? Okay, talk to you soon.
Next stop, Santander, Spain. Okay, we're out of the port and we're heading towards San Sebastian, so all good so far. After arriving in one piece, it became apparent that there was no campsites available near San Sebastian, so I took the initiative and set out to look for a quiet place to settle down for the night. Because we can't sleep in a campsite, we're going to sleep here, which is right up beside the Vernacular Railway, which I didn't even know where it was today until it was suggested by Francis Donnelly, our CFO. And I found it by default, so let's see how it goes. So good night all, and we'll have a look at what this place looks like in the morning. Okay, it's morning time. So I can think of worse places to spend some time. Have a look at this. This has to be the drive of the trip so far. The next day, I continued my travels down to Saragossa to meet with Rowena Hennigan, a thought leader of remote working. Heading into Zaragoza main centre now, so hopefully to see Rowena. When I met with Rowena Hennigan, we talked about how remote working was adapting after the pandemic had settled. After meeting Rowena, I left Saragossa and found a quiet place to rest for the night. Okay, here's the cabin at night time, so you can see it. I'm in Saragossa, so this is where we're at.
Is Adam frozen?
Oh, I didn't know whether he was frozen. I genuinely thought he was just looking down.
It's hard to know, isn't it? He's very good at the statue.
The joys of working from a van, Eloise. You froze.
Yeah, you won't believe what happened, right? The phone got too hot, and I've had to put it against a cold piece of bacon to cool it down. I swear to God, you couldn't make this shit up. After a full day's work, I continued on my next stop, Tarragona, where I found the most amazing campsite right by the coast. I woke up the next morning to this amazing view. And following a quick dip in the sea and the campsite pool, I started work. But it wasn't long before I was back on the road on my way to meet another employee. This time it was Javi, our software development manager. We talked about the 4-day working week and how it might work for us at HRLocker. We talked about how people who worked at HRLocker valued the flexibility and the open, transparent culture that we had established. But there's no rest for the wicked, so I headed west to Seville with hopes of fitting in another football match. Got at the match, and it's fairly incredible stuff. Well, look. Next stop, Bregao. A home away from home for me, and a chance to relax before my 4-day working week begins tomorrow. I've been here quite a few times and it's a bit like home. Matei's restaurant. It's 4 years since I've been here, but things haven't changed, and the wine is good, and the fish is gorgeous. So, bon appetit! People have been asking, do I do my day job when I'm on this traveling? And the answer is yes. So here is our quarterly that's going on at the moment. And hopefully you can see this. And that's Christelle there. And we're talking about the best ideas winning out in a meritocracy. So yes, I am doing my day job. And everybody else is working as normal, which is brilliant. And yes, and work is no longer a place, and it does work remotely.
Our next stop was Lisbon. Oh, or is it San Francisco?
Lisbon has the same traffic issues as most other cities, which also says to me that if you're in Lisbon, you'd probably like to be a remote worker too, because this is Sunday. So if this is Sunday, can you imagine what it's like on Monday and Friday? Remote working is the only way, guys. No doubt about that. Houston, we've got a problem. We've got an oil leak. I'm going to try and make it to the hotel. Just call Jason there, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I eventually got the people who are quite helpful here in this garage. They're going to strip out the seal, and they're going to put it back in again and tighten it up, and we should be good to go. So, fucking hell, this is really stressful. Excuse my expletives, but sometimes in a thing like this it's just too much. But these guys have been fantastic so far. So great. Had an amazing meeting with Patricia Silva from Caxia, which is in the building behind me, the big glass building behind me. Haven't had a nightmare with the car all day. I think we've done a huge amount of possible business with these people, and they're just amazing. Similar ethos, but way advanced in terms of investment and various other bits and pieces. Looking at stuff from Horizon 2020, which will now be Horizon 2030, to hire, to lots of different pieces. But I mean, probably the best meeting I've had of the trip so far. So here's watch this space, and talk soon.
Bound for Bilbao, I started my longest journey of the trip to see another one of my employees, Nacho, one of our senior developers. And with that, I headed to the port to catch the boat home.
Okay, got through by the police. It was very funny when they pulled up for them, very intimidating, and then all of a sudden they looked at the back and they saw the bottles of Rioja and they went, oh, okay, go ahead, only Rioja. So on the way back, could have smuggled a load of drugs, but there you go. Bye.
Landed in Rosslare bright and early. It was good to be back on Irish soil. I took some time to head out west. First stop on this leg was County Cork.
Hi, I'm in Middleton today, and I'm on the way to see Megan, who's one of our support analysts, who I've never met since she's been hired with us, but really looking forward to meeting her today.
As part of this journey, I set out 3 goals. 1, to meet my employees face to face. 2, to prove that work is no longer a place. And 3, to see could I make the 4-day working week work for myself. I accomplished what I went out to achieve, with the exception of the 4-day working week, which I personally failed. Saying I failed at the 4-day working week does not mean it's not worthwhile, as I believe the 4-day working week is the way forward. Having discussed the 4-day working week with my employees and managers during the trip, all of them believed that the time was not right yet for HRLocker to implement the 4-day working week because of where we are in our commercial journey. On reflection, I saw the importance of people being able to take time off to suit their lives. Thank you to all who made this trip possible. It has been a real blast from start to finish, and I want to thank you all. I am now safe back in HRLocker headquarters in the Hinch. And as with all initiatives and projects in HRLocker, we undertook a project review, and my trip was no different. We all agreed that work was no longer a place as long as you had the right procedures and policies in situ, and you were taking contextual issues into consideration as they cropped up. The initiative helped us to understand what we needed to do to develop our remote work first policy even further. And as part of the project review, all of us conceded that the 4-day working week wasn't quite right for HRLocker yet because we were at the wrong economic cycle. We all agreed that it was important for all of us, employees and employer, to monitor the time that we work, to try where best we could to avoid burnout, and to make sure that we could actually use this as a way of finding out where we might need additional resources as time goes on and the company scales. To that avail, with the importance of time off, from immediate effect, we granted everybody an additional 5 days holidays. But we also decided that we will keep the 4-day working week on our agenda as we scale as a company. I hope you enjoyed our journey so far. It's only the beginning. If you want to follow us further, follow us on LinkedIn at HRLocker or go to HRLocker.com. For further podcasts, please tune in to www.adamcoleman.com, and thank you.